I got my first guitar when I was 11 years old from my grandfather. And I was very inspired by musicians as Richie Blackmore's Rainbow and Brian May of Queen. And I had different constellations and worked with different musicians until I was 18 years old. And then after my 12 years of competing in the cabaret business, I received a home studio device and really turned out and tried out some different ideas because I wanted to have a new rock concept and work professionally as a musician with a female voice contra very hard guitars. And I even worked with opera singer and some pop melodic female singers, and it was a good starting point at that time. I also came in contact with young musicians at music school, and after a year of work I completed the first album, Straight From My Heart, which was more an AOR-oriented album with a female touch. And it was quite good. We signed up with a small label, but I find myself down in Japan with a new manager and got some really good contacts in the publishing industry and also with Bern, and that was a good starting point for the band. When we came back to Sweden, we also got played the hit song Wings of Tomorrow at the national TV channel TV4. The Stargate project was quite interesting. It began in 1997 when I formed my new and own publishing company. And that was a really great and important era of my recording career, because at that time I really tried out different musicians. I came in contact with Ian Howland from Europe, and also had guest musicians as Anna Norberg from the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra here in Stockholm. And it was quite interesting also to try out new melodic things in the same album. And I also have a new female singer and another guest musicians in that album. And together I think that album took something about 1 year to record. And I think the main thing is that I really discovered new things, what I wanted to do later on with Stormwind, when it really took, you know, new steps in 1999. And I guess also that, you know, melodic harmonies that's always gonna survive. A good example is like Deep Purple or Rainbow in the beginning of the 70s. All that kind of melodies and harmonies will always stay in tune. I mean, 1990 everything was turned around with this new Seattle things, and everyone knows that. But at the same time, it really, you can really see that trends are coming and goes, and the harmonies are always gonna be there. The classical opus, the Miramar piece that was written for the Stargate album, that was really a great and also a fun experience, because I met Anna Norberg, which was the flutist, on a concert, and I asked her, are you interested to do a thing, you know, with a hard rock guitarist? And she was really, you know, stunned, and at the same time she was a little bit, you know, curious about it. So we speak to each other in a couple of weeks. We were found together in the studio, and I was really, you know, in a strange way, also really, you know, hesitated and with a lot of inspiration to do this, and it came out really well. And we met together in the studio, and she had her own, let's say, conservative way to see on things, and I was really inspired to, you know, meet that kind of thinking during when I was working, because I really got help to get the notes on the stands and everything all that around, and it was a fun and a good experience for me. The karate spirit has always been in, you know, in a kind of way, an inspiration during my work also with the music and everything in life. I mean, I competed for about 8 years, and when I took my Kyokushin champion title in '93 and stopped the competing thing, I really just trained once or twice a week to keep fit. But that's a really good thing mentally for me, because sometimes I really feel that the Tamashii soul, or the soul of never giving up and trying to be more focused and more relaxed here and now, is really a good thing that I claim from the karate. I played in Cannes 1997 at the International Guitar Festival. And it was good because during that time I also signed a contract for Stormwind to play there in April '98. But in '98, when the Stargate album was ready to be released, I never got any regular lineup during this time because it was kind of two different solo projects with musicians who got hired for every production. So I had auditions for a couple of months and signed some young musicians, and we flew down in France and had a great time. It was a good experience. And when I came back from France in April, I decided to put up a stable lineup with the best musicians I ever could get in Sweden. In 1999, when the preparations for the Heaven Can Wait album began, it took almost 6 months of auditions, and the first that I wanted to have was the best male singer I could get. So I contacted Thomas Wikström, and he was on board quite quickly, and we became the best of friends since then. And I'm really glad to have him on board because he's an excellent singer. We had a quite unique, wide range of just taking care of the more, how would you say, smooth ballads to the really high-pitched metal songs. And also Andreas Olsson was a young musician during that time, very promising, and today he's playing in a lot of bands. And he's playing the bass, and also invited Kaspar Dahlqvist, the keyboard guy. At that time I think he played with a band called Treasureland. And after auditions with I think about 20 different drummers, Patrick Johansson, who also lived in the north part of Sweden, came down, and he really made a great impact on everyone when he came down, because he said, "I'm Patrick and I'm a rock star," and he had that kind of really familiar and really fun way to make an impression in everyone around. So at that time I was really happy for after six months of hard work, and where everyone comes together and made some kind of inspiration on each other. And Heaven Can Wait began also with this kind of metal opera. That's the intro on the album. And it was a bit sad because we had a production problem with it. So I flew down to Germany and tried to remix the album. And we had a big release party here in Stockholm at the Rish restaurant. And at the end, it really was the turning point for Stormwind, because when I signed it down in Medem in Cannes at the musical Warfare, it was signed to both Brazil with Rock Brigade and Europe through High Gain, and also in Asia with our still managing agent down there, Yoshi Endo. And that was the turning point, I guess, for the band. Heaven Can Wait was a good starting point, because then the band really got their own identity. Of course, you always wanted to have a better production for every album, otherwise there's no point releasing a new album. And in that point, I think also the concept of having smooth ballads together with more high-pitched, hard metal songs, in a way, you can say that's the kind of concept and the identity of the band. So for the next release, Resurrection, we really find our own identity of the band.